opened the door. The telly was on in the living room, but there was no one there. I once asked my mom why she left the telly on all the time, even if she wasn't home. She said she liked it, that it felt friendly. I turned it off. I went up to my room. I hadn't spoken to anyone for the rest of the day. At lunch, I went to the library and sat in a corner and opened a book. I don't know what the book was. I didn't try and read it. For a while, I thought about what Ross had said, about the Templemore kids saying bad things about me, about my dad being a coward and not a hero at all, about him being a liar. To say that I thought about it gets it wrong. I didn't think about it. It was just there in my head, like a cancer or something. Yeah, a brain tumor. And it's not as if you could do anything about a brain tumor by thinking about it. Hey, brain tumor, I've decided you're a bad idea, so why don't you go away now? Oh, okay, if you say so. Bye then. Yeah, bye. I looked around my room. Ever since I'd got to know Shane and his gang, I'd begun to feel funny about a lot of things in my life. I mean, funny in a bad way. Feel that they weren't right, weren't good. My clothes, my hair, my things. There was nothing good about my room. The walls were plain. I don't even know what you'd call the color. It wasn't gray, but it was grayish, with something a bit yellow in the gray, and maybe a bit pink. The curtains were blue, with lines of black on them. There was a chest of drawers that was older than me, but not old enough to be interesting. There was a wardrobe with a tall mirror in the inside of the door, so you had to open the door to look at it yourself. That was stupid. I opened the door and looked at myself. I didn't like what I saw. I wasn't ugly. I wasn't good looking. I was nothing. My hair was like the walls. No real color. There was still something unformed and babyish about my face. I squeezed it with my hands the way Ross squeezed it, wanting to hurt myself, wanting to squeeze out the thoughts. And then I remembered, and the thoughts of Ross and my dad, the coward shitting himself, when he should have been fighting, were blown away like leaves in an autumn gale. Maddie. I was going to the cinema with Maddie. And suddenly I was happy and excited, and looking back at myself in the mirror, I thought, maybe I didn't look too bad. I changed out of my school clothes. I had some okay jeans. Nothing special, nothing great, but not embarrassing. And I had an okay shirt. It was actually an old one of my dad's. It was a creamy color, was thick cotton, smooth with age. And it only had buttons down the middle, so you had to put it on over your head. I suppose it was kind of old-fashioned, but I thought it looked timeless. Jeans and a shirt and trainers. The trainers were okay too, just a pair of standard black and white Adidas. You wouldn't notice them either way, to love or to hate. I brushed my teeth and washed my face. I got some water on the front of my shirt and some toothpaste on my jeans, and I felt stupid for not getting washed before I got dressed. But my mind was all full up with excitement and the fear of seeing Maddie. And when I was washing, I decided I wasn't going to go to the fight tomorrow. Wasn't going to have anything to do with Roth and his thugs. Let them fight. I don't care what the Templemore kids had to say. I didn't care what my dad had done all those years ago, and I didn't care what he hadn't either. None of it mattered, not compared to seeing Maddie. I heard voices and smelled food. I hadn't noticed my parents come in. I went downstairs. Got fish and chips, said my dad. I didn't want to meet Maddie thinking of chip fat. Anyway, I wasn't hungry. I'm off out. Have something first, said Mom. She was smoking as she unwrapped a fish from the paper, glistening and translucent with the fat. Dad was sitting at the kitchen table. He had already started to eat his chips, picking some off the paper as he rolled the rest onto his plate. "Dad?" "Yes, son?" he said, not looking up, the bald top of his head pointing at me. It also glistened, as if he'd rubbed it on the chip paper. I was glad that Maddie and the others weren't here to see this, because there was another thing that they had taught me. To be ashamed of my parents, and our house, and the way we lived. I'm still looking at the strangely soft, vulnerable, glistening head of my dad, the skin pink and blotched with brown freckles. The shame I'd felt was replaced, slowly, by guilt. Mom and Dad had worked hard all their lives. When they weren't working, they were tired, and what they liked to do was sit and watch telly, eating fish and chips. It wasn't a crime that they didn't like opera or talking about politics. Suddenly, my dad looked up, his face puzzled and quizzical. "What's up, Paul? You look like you've lost a penny and found a pound." "Other way around, love," said my mum. "Oh yes, lost a pound and found a penny." But by then, the moment for talk was past, and they were back to their fish and chips, and slices of bread and margarine, and their cups of sweet tea. And so I left them there, and went to meet Maddie at the Cinema of Dreams. And there is another way in which the scene before me is like a game of chess. There is a word, a truly excellent word. Zugzwang. It means coming to a place in the game, usually toward the end, where you're safe as long as you don't move. But it's your turn, and you must move. And if you move, you will lose. Zugzwang. 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 Zugzwang.